Hello YouTube. You guys haven't seen this test this clean since I was playing with the Sparky Project oscillator. I know he's corrected me, but that's what the video is titled. And that was a long time ago. So the reason why I cleaned off my desk is, well, it's due time and I have changed which soldering iron I'm using because, well, finally, after so many months of heavy use and abuse, I have broken the element on my X-Tronic 6040 hot air and digitally controlled hot air and soldering iron. So, I've cleaned off my bench and, well, got my old X-Tronic 3010, which is heat controlled but not temperature controlled. You can adjust the wattage. So, the reason why I know the element is bad is because when I plug it in and turn it on, it will say some weird temperature reading that is way off the scale, well, to what I have it set to, and it won't show the little element on, which is the decimal point in the display. So, and with a little bit of fiddling around with the element itself, it does read a display temperature, or it goes error. So I've somehow cracked the feedback, the thermistor in the element. The element itself is fine, but it doesn't work without the feedback. So they were kind enough to have sent me a spare element when I bought it, which is really cool. You get a spare iron tip and a spare heating element for the wand. Pretty standard wand. But yeah. So, I'm going to show you how to replace the element in here. So, to replace the tips, you just undo this here, and then those both come off like this. And then to pull the tip off, you just pull it off, and then there's multiple, bunch of different kinds. This is the, I don't know, 2mm sort of spade tip, chisel tip, something like that, which, that's my favorite. It's big enough, but small enough at the same time. So you'll notice my element is pretty banged up. The end is all black and chipped, and back here it's all black. And so pull this heat shroud back and then unscrew this. And then this part comes back, and then you've got this little piece here. Set that aside. And now I'm going to undo this, untangle this wire a little bit more. Yeah. I really like the wire on these. It's nice, like silicone wire. Very nice. So you can take all the way back, and then just take this and take the cord, and you should be able to push the cord through, and that has ejected the circuit board where everything is soldered onto. So you can see how the wire is very nicely crimped onto here, and all the wires are soldered onto there. So I guess I'm going to get a little more light, and you can kind of tell it's a fair bit bent. Well, let's see. So I'm going to pull off this, and then here and here. These are the two sense wires, I think. No, these are the sense. Not sure which is which. I think these were the power wires, and these were the sense wires. So anyway, let's get it replaced. So this is a little bit tricky, because when I pulled off one of the power wires, this wire came loose. So I've just been pulling on it with my nails and pushing back and getting it a bit warm and pulling it off. So that just pulls through, and there is the old element, and here is the new element. I'll just bring these wires through. There we go. And then you see this little notch cut into it. You just turn that to line up with the PCB and put that in the notch. Put the PCB in the notch and you're good to go. So I'm going to do this off camera. Basically just poke these wires, the two sense wires. Polarity really doesn't matter. It's just the DC element. It's not like it has a diode or anything. So yeah, be right back. So I've trimmed the extra length on these, and so these are the two sense wires, and it looks like they're all cut to length, so there's really no mucking it up. See, the blue wire is shorter than the red wire, and the two thermistor wires are, one's shorter, one's longer, and those are collectively shorter than the element. Poof, I've made it a fair bit brighter, and basically I've just been heating it up and shoving the wire in. I don't know if you can really see that, it's all a bit washed out now. So, unfortunately, with things like this, you do have to have a secondary soldering iron. But if you're going to be bending what you did on the X-Tronic 6040, you probably have a cheaper soldering iron that you can already use in the meantime as a backup. There we go. So just kind of work in steps. Bring it closer and closer. Oh, now the hole is open. Okay, so I'm going to finish soldering this up. I'll be right back. So, I've gotten the wires poking through and in their spots, so I'm just going to add a bit more fresh solder. And now I've got to attach this blue and green wire back onto the board. The blue one was this one and the green one's that one. Or went there, I guess. Shamoke. Wait a minute. Use these tweezers. I think that didn't bend it right. So yeah, it's all a bit fiddly, as probably Julian would say. I think that's got it. Blue one. Now the green one. Didn't leave much length on these wires, that's for sure. Let's see if I can get that on there. Now I'm going to add a bit more solder to that, just so it will stay nice and tidy. Oops. It has bounced back up. So the one thing I do not all that like is that this soldering iron from the old model, or the lower spec model, is that it's so long compared to basically that. So I can't like use my other fingers to hold down something. But there we go. Now I'm just going to trim off those two wires and put it all back together. Oh wait, I gotta reflow these two. Don't forget. Nice bubble there. And then this one is the grounding pin. But yeah, looks everything's solid now. Snip off these bits. It's weird, the wire is magnetic actually. Yep. So they're using steel or something to get to the thermocouple. And reassembly is simple. Just, oh, there is a, I don't know, slot cut out. So you have to align that with the PCB. And put it in, make sure this is aligned, and reassemble. Nope. Put the tip on. Put that on. Okay, and this on. Now we can test it. Alright. I've plugged it back in. Switching it on. And we can see it's heating up. I'm going to set it to its lowest temperature. There is some sort of procedure when you use it for the first time. But you can see the little decimal point is flickering on and off. I don't know if you can see that or not. There you go. See it blinking on and off? So that means it's turning on and off the element. Whereas before it was just showing a weird temperature and the element was off. Actually, it was showing the set temperature, but the element was turned off. So that means the display is not the actual temperature that it's reading, it's just the set, and it tries to match it. But I spare you more rambling. So that's how you replace these X-Tronic 6040 soldering iron or any other digitally controlled soldering station. That's how you replace the element. What we need is a pair of snips and a second soldering iron. So anyway, I thank you all for watching. Check out my other videos and take care.